The sound of a stainless steel plate slipping from my hand still echoes in my ears. It happened the moment I saw the message, the one sentence that shook my entire chest like a quiet earthquake. My daughter's words, written to someone else, telling them why she no longer needed me. I remember the faint smell of turmeric from the curry cooling on the counter, and the sudden thought that maybe I had misunderstood everything about motherhood. In that moment, one fear filled my mind. What if the person you raised with love becomes the one who breaks you the most?
I always saw myself as an ordinary mother living an ordinary life. Our home was small, with narrow windows that let in soft morning sunlight, but it felt warm because my daughter Aisha filled it with laughter. After my husband died 12 years ago, it had just been the two of us. I worked stitching clothes from home, blouses, salwar suits, small alterations, earning enough to cover rent, school fees, and simple meals. Every month, I kept a small envelope aside for emergencies. I remember the way its paper grew soft from being touched so many times.
Growing up, Aisha was gentle, clever, and ambitious. She studied hard, dreamed of a big job, and promised me that one day she would buy me a house where I wouldn't have to worry about leaking roofs or rising rent. I didn't need a big house. I just wanted her to be safe and kind. But dreams have a strange way of changing shape when they become real. When she entered college, she made new friends, children of wealthy families, people who wore expensive perfumes and traveled in cars. I could feel a small distance beginning, like a tiny crack forming in a cup you still drink from. She stopped inviting friends home, saying the house was too cramped. I smiled and pretended not to feel the sting. Money became a quiet guest in our conversations, always present, always heavy. Whenever she spoke of other people's lifestyles, their trips, their clothes, there was a slight disappointment in her tone, as if our life was somehow lacking.
The real crack appeared on a Sunday afternoon. Aisha had just finished her final exams, and I made her favorite pulao to celebrate. We were sitting on the floor, eating from the same plate like old times, when she said quietly, "Ma, I'm thinking of shifting out." I thought she meant for a job in another city, so I nodded. But then she added, "No, Ma, I want to live with Reena and her group. They already found a flat. It's nicer."
But 2 days later, I learned the truth. A neighbor told me she overheard Aisha calling our home embarrassing, and she said she didn't want her colleagues to know where she really came from. The words struck me like a silent slap. That evening, I sat on my bed, folding her clothes for her new move, when I felt something inside me shift forever.
The weeks after her move were the beginning of a long loneliness. Aisha visited less and less, always rushing, always distracted. She avoided eating my cooking, saying her friends liked cleaner food. I didn't ask what cleaner meant. I washed my kitchen twice that night anyway. I kept stitching clothes to earn enough to manage on my own. But expenses grew. Medicine for my joints, rising electricity bills, and groceries that seemed pricier every month. I would sit at the table late at night, sorting receipts. Onions, rice, thread rolls, pain balm. Small items, but each one weighed on me. Aisha rarely sent money. She said she had her own expenses, rent, outings, splitting bills with her flatmates.
Once, when I asked if she could help with the electricity bill, she replied coldly, "Ma, please don't make me feel guilty. I have my own life now." Her tone surprised me more than the words. Then came the second blow. I coincidentally saw her across the street, laughing with a group, carrying branded bags. But when she noticed me, her smile disappeared instantly, and she pretended not to know me.
The third incident
came later. Aisha asked me to sign some papers, for convenience, she said. She wanted to add her name to my small savings account. I'm just helping you manage things, she insisted. What I didn't know was that she used that access to withdraw nearly all the money in the account.
The truth finally surfaced through an unexpected source: Aisha's childhood friend, Needy. She visited me one evening, carrying a small packet of sweets and a worried expression. "Auntie," she said gently, "I think you should know something." Aisha had been telling people that she grew up practically alone, that her mother never supported her, and that she escaped a poor, negative environment. She was rewriting our history. Needy hesitated, then added, "Auntie, she's planning to move permanently to another city. She said she doesn't want you depending on her." It wasn't just betrayal. It was erasure. But that evening, as I stood by my window and watched the streetlights flicker on, something within me grew calm instead of angry. If a child walks away from you, running behind them only makes them walk faster.
I didn't confront her immediately. I didn't shout or accuse. Instead, I began planning quietly, dignified steps to protect myself. First, I visited the bank. I explained everything calmly, requested the withdrawal details, and converted the account back to single ownership. Then I applied for a small government support scheme. I contacted a few regular clients and asked for more stitching work. I reorganized my home, sorted old cloth, repaired my sewing machine, created a small corner for my materials so I could work longer hours if needed. Emotionally, I did something even harder. I started creating boundaries with Aisha. I stopped messaging her first. I stopped sending long voice notes checking on her meals. When she visited, I spoke politely, but didn't beg for time or affection. My silence confused her. She asked, "Ma, are you upset with me?" And I replied simply, "No, beta. I am learning to stand on my own." The final turning point arrived on a quiet morning when Aisha unexpectedly came home. She stood in the doorway, holding a plastic folder, her expression tense. "Ma, I need you to sign these papers quickly," she said. "It's for a rental agreement. I told the landlord you'll be the guarantor." She expected me to say yes, just like always. I took the folder gently, opened it, and read the terms. If she failed to pay, the debt would fall on me. I closed the folder and looked at her. "Aisha," I said quietly, "I cannot sign this. You have chosen your life, and I have chosen mine." Her eyes filled with frustration. "So that's it? You won't support me?" "I supported you when you needed me most. Ask yourself if you supported me when I needed you." "This home will always welcome you," I said softly, "but not to use me, only to be with me." She left quietly, the folder in her hand, reality settling around her like dust. Over the next few weeks, she visited less often, but when she did, she was softer. She brought groceries once and asked if my sewing machine still worked. I rebuilt my strength, emotionally, financially, and spiritually. I learned to enjoy my own company, to appreciate small routines, making tea, watering plants, sorting fabric by color. Life became peaceful. And the lesson stayed with me. Love cannot survive if it has no boundaries. Even a mother must learn where to stop giving so her child learns where to start caring. Sometimes the strongest act of love is stepping back. If this calm, real-life story touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe for more gentle, emotional stories like this.